Hey everybody out there, my name is Ambika and you all are here with me on Unacademy's channel, which is Let's Crack CBSE with us. And with us I meant with Unacademy. So guys, Unacademy has two crazy features about which I'm going to give a certain detail to all of you right here. So first of all, the first one is the Plus subscription. Herein, what is the best part about the Plus subscription is that you can learn everything, every aspect of your academics of your course at the ease, at the comfort of your house. Right, like literally at the ease and comfort of your house, because in this pandemic, we are like, we simply can't step out of our houses, right? So herein you can check out every inch of your corner at of your studies, I mean at the comfort of your house, right? Next is, once you will going to enroll yourself, you can check out the unlimited courses which are lined up for you. Next is, you will be taught by nation top educators, like literally guys, they are best, they are prolific, they are like kind of demigods in a way, right? Because like they are so pro with their own specific field, with their own specific streams. And once you, I mean, honestly, when you read, when you're being taught by the somebody who is so prolific in their own specific field, that is like a great blessing. So we have got the best educators here. Along with that, those educators will going to cover every inch, every corner of your course, right? Plus, we will going to have regular doubt clearing sessions. The live test series are also lined up for you. And the study material will be provided to you in the format of the PDF. Next thing is, when it comes to writing up the answers, that is the major problem with all of us, right? I mean, that is where we lack our creative side, right? So herein we will going to have answer writing sessions with all of you. Hi Deepak, so today we will going to talk about lesson birth. So stay connected with me till the end so that you'll be super clear with this chapter, because that is like something on which I have come up with because you wanted me to begin with this chapter, right? So yeah, here it is. So herein on Plus, we have got our answer writing sessions as well, and the mentorship and guidance from all of us. Right now, these are the features of Plus, which I've already told you, like daily life practice sessions, weekly mock tests, and quizzes, right? And wherein we will also going to cover your NCRT books also, like when we grow up and it simply turns up that we check out all those giant, huge, fancy books. But as you all know, CBSE wants us to be very clear with our NCRT books as well. So we have got a batch which will specifically talk about your NCRT, right? So, and these batches are both in Hindi as well as in English. So you can check it out. If you are comfortable in Hindi, then you can check out in that as well. And if you are super comfortable with English, it is all lined up for you. So it is bilingual in nature, right? So another crazy feature with Unacademy has lined up for all of you is Iconic. So guys, it is hi Rajdeep, hi. So Iconic has got this feature, which is they have introduced it newly on our platform. So herein, what all you will going to get, you will going to get the mentors, the personal mentors for all your doubts, right? Plus you will going to have live doubt solving classes, parent connect will be there, and we will going to provide you the study planner as well. And all those which are already part of Plus, right? All those things like best educators from the nation, interactive live classes, tests and quizzes, and creative corner. So they are all already present. So you can, I would personally suggest like all of you should go for Iconic. Yeah. And for that, you can use my code, which is Ambika, which is my name as well, right? Ambika. So easy to remember, I believe. So you can check it out, right? And with that, you will surely going to get 10% of discount. Okay, hi Vaibhav, hi. And these are the listing, the cart value of your Iconic subscription. So guys, again, you can use my code as well, which is Ambika. Right, with that, let's begin with lesson number 7, Birth, which was written by A.G. Cronin. I repeat, which was written by A.G. Cronin. So guys, what is the agenda of this class? Herein, I will going to read out each and every line of our chapter, And with that, you will be super sure, super certain what this chapter is trying to convey to you. So herein, this will surely going to be a long class because I will read out every line and I will surely going to explain that as well. No, Rajdeep, this is for grade 11. So yeah, right. So first of all, let's meet our author first, and his name is Archibald Joseph Cronin. I repeat, his name is Archibald Joseph Cronin, and he was a Scottish physician also and a novelist as well. Obviously, I have recognized you. Yes, this lecture is for grade 11, Rajdeep. And obviously, Vaibhav, I have, like, you attend my special class, right? So I do know my students without a doubt. Yeah. So he was a physician also as well as a novelist. So there are certain terms in this story which are being used in the context of medicine, in the context of biology. So again, as he himself was a physician, that is why the terms which are being used in this chapter has some connotation, has some reference from the background of science as well, right? Because later he turned into a novelist, right? So that is why first of all a physician, then a novelist. So again, his own academic career has affected him when he actually became a novelist, right? His best known novel is The Citadel, which was written in 1937, and this story is about a Scottish doctor. uh, Hi Zishan, hi, who is a Scottish doctor who is from Scotland, right? A Welsh mining village. The story is being set up in a Welsh mining village who shoots up the career ladder in London and who later moves to London and wherein he got his own fame. So let's just check out just like the story, what all is there in this chapter. So in this excerpt from The Citadel, as I just told you, ये जो story है, okay, sorry, I didn't tell it to you right just now, right? So this story is basically जो birth chapter है, this is being taken from the novel The Citadel, which was written by A.G. Cronin himself, right? So जो हमें chapter पढ़ना है, वो एक excerpt है, वो एक छोटा सा part है from the novel The Citadel. As we know, right, the young Sheldon, right, which was basically a biography, not young Sheldon, sorry, young Einstein, the young Einstein, right? So that is being an excerpt, that is basically a biography, or हमारा जो chapter है, Albert Einstein at school, was taken from it, right? So excerpt is like taken a few from the lot. So in this excerpt from The Citadel, Andrew Manson, newly out of medical school. So our basically our protagonist is somebody जिसके around पूरी story revolve होती है. Yes, Yash, this is a chapter for grade 11. Indeed, yeah. Okay. So the protagonist is Andrew Manson, who is newly come out from his medical school and has just begun his medical practice as an assistant to Dr. Edward Page in the small Welsh mining town of Blenheim. Again, guys, ये जो town है Blenheim, it is a fictitious place. ये actually exist नहीं करती है. Right, but although this character Andrew Manson was basically an assistant to Dr. Edward Page. Just मतलब पूरे story का like you know a kind of a like overall kind of a summary in a way, like ये पूरी story किसके बारे में बात करी, that is called as simply a gist. Yeah, as he is returning from a disappointing evening with Christine. Now who is Christine? She is Andrew's girlfriend. Hi Soumya. Hi. So she is Andrew's girlfriend, and he had a very the evening was full of disappointment with his own girlfriend. So he just met her and he is returning back. The girl he loves, he is met by Joe Morgan. So while he came back to his own house, he met Joe Morgan. Joe and his wife, who have been married nearly 20 years. So Joe and his wife, they got married for like 20 long years. It's okay, Soumya. I haven't begun with the story reading, so you are basically on time. Nothing to worry about. Yeah. So the girl, Joe and his wife, they have got married for 20 long years and they are expecting their first child. So this first child is there, is there like when people expect that their child is supposed to be there after 3 to 4 years of their married life, but after the lady has conceived after 20 long years of their marriage. And that is why this child is very, very, very important. Is it so, Abhishek? I don't know. I'm just reading out the chapter. That is why maybe. Continuous speaking made me so, I believe. Yeah. So that is why after 20 long years of their marriage, they are expecting their first child. So this child means a lot to them. Now, let's check out the setting of the story. The story is set in a small fictitious, as I have already told you, this place is fictitious. ये originally actually ये exist नहीं करती हैं. In Welsh mining town called Blenheim. And what is the name of the town? That is Blenheim. The story begins late one night when Andrew reaches home after a disappointing evening with the woman he loves. Right? So, story begin kahan se ho rahi hai? That Andrew is coming back to his home and he just had a very disappointing evening with his own girlfriend, and from there the story itself takes a pace. Right? वहीं से अपनी story start हो रही है. Now, let me tell you the theme of the story. And please guys, do keep the theme of the story in mind. जब हम ये chapter पढ़ेंगे, you can relate out like why I have got these three themes as as like a background of the story. Because जब ये chapter पढ़ोगे, so you will like literally can recall that why these themes are not prevalent, but it is like present in their the story. So that is presence of mind, life-changing events, and ethics. So these are the three basic themes which are present there. And while we will going to read out every inch of the chapter, Soumya, like, don't even talk to me about that. Honestly, I am super disappointed. I am like shattered आज के result से. So that is why I hope this chapter, the birth, will surely help you out in the explanation and reading. और जब इसका quiz होगा, तो I hope मुझे disappointment नहीं face करना पड़ेगा. Now, first of all, let's meet our characters of the story. So the first character is Andrew Manson, and he is newly come out from his medical school. He is in love with Christine. I just told you about that. And he wishes to marry his beloved. He so badly wanted to marry Christine, but there are like so many failed marriages in his own friend circle that puts a very wrong impression on him about marriage. So that is why he is like in middle of the story, he goes back into his own memories. It's a flashback wherein he thinks that should I marry Christine or not, right? So he wishes to marry Christine though, but because Andrew के खुद के friends का बहुत disappointing marriages रही हैं, right? So that is why he's still considering like should he marry her or not. A lot of internal conflict, but manages to perform well in his duty. So now इतना सारा mental stress है because should he marry her, should he not marry her? There are like so many other conflicts also which are taking place in his mind, but still he outperforms on his duty. And what was his duty? That he is a doctor, right? So there are certain duty which is being associated with him. So he still performs them really well. गाइज हम लोग की लाइफ में जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स होती है उससे हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ काफी अफेक्ट हो जाती है. एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी समहाउ देयर आर चांसेस कि हम अपनी प्रोफेशनल वर्ल्ड में बहुत ही ज्यादा बैड परफॉर्मेंस दें. बट एंड्रयू मेंसन वही ये चीज क्लियर कर रहा है दैट योर पर्सनल लाइफ शुड नॉट हैम्पर योर प्रोफेशनल लाइफ. Does his best and saves the mother and the child, and that is how he performs really well, and he saves the mother as well as the child. This whole incident puts a strong impression on him, and when he done saving the mother and the child, that clearly changed the personality of Andrew Manson. Yeah. The next character is Joe Morgan. I repeat, the next character is Joe Morgan. So Joe Morgan is somebody who waits for Andrew at his clinic because his wife was expecting, and not his wife only, he and his wife, they both were expecting their firstborn child, right? So he's waiting for Andrew so that he can help him help his wife out in delivering the child. He's anxious, he's scared, and refuses to enter into the house. And he does not enter into his own house till his wife delivers the child. He puts faith on Andrew and eagerly waits for the arrival of the child. And he puts his whole faith on Andrew that he will going to save his wife as well as his child. And he eagerly waits for Andrew to be there. Right now, let's check out, and I'm telling you guys, I will going to read out every inch, every corner of this chapter, right? So that you will be super sure, and whenever any question pops up from the chapter board, you will surely going to do it, right? So let's just get started. Are you all ready? So shall we begin? All right. Okay. So here it goes. Yeah. This is lesson number 7, Birth, which was written by A.G. Cronin. Guys, I would request that kindly sit with the book as well as the pencil in your hand, because there are certain difficult terms which I want you to write while I'm teaching it to you. So, all right, Soumya, okay. So you will be like super comfortable whenever you're going to read the chapter next. Now, okay. So let's get started. Though it was nearly midnight when Andrew reached Brangover, he found Joe Morgan waiting for him. So now the story has begun and it is almost midnight. All right, Abhishek. And it is almost midnight and Andrew reached Brangover, that is a place, right? And he found another character, Joe Morgan, who is waiting for Andrew, walking up and down with short steps between the closed surgery and the entrance of the house. And now, just तरीके से Joe is walking, like he's taking short steps, and he is walking every now and then near the surgery room as well as his entrance of the house. So one can clearly see that Joe Morgan is really anxious. He's really tensed about something. At the sight of him, the burly driller's face expressed relief. So now burly himself means somebody who is like large, a perfect, well-built, a muscular man. So that is the physical appearance of Joe Morgan. Again, guys, this is the time in Scotland wherein there were like a lot of drillers. Drillers are somebody who drills the earth in the aspect of that something, some mines are there, right? So again, Joe Morgan is also a driller, and जो drillers होते हैं, they have got the well perfect build. Yeah. Here, doctor, I'm glad to see you. And again, guys, check out the language which Joe Morgan has just addressed the doctor, and he has begin with like words like this. So that means he is not that well educated, right? He says, here, doctor, I'm glad to see you. So he says, I'm so happy to see you, doctor. I've been back and forward here this last hour. And he's simply telling that I am being here, I'm present here, I'm like walking here since almost an hour, and I'm so happy to see you. The missus wants you before time too. And he's like, my wife, my missus wants to see you because it is the time wherein she will going to, and it is all the before time. I'm calling you, but she wants to see you because she is very anxious also. Andrew abruptly, like in a very, he was not into that, frame of mind. Recall from the contemplation. Contemplation means thinking a lot of his own affairs, told Morgan to wait. And he's like, wait, give me some minutes and I will come back to you. And he asked Morgan to wait. He went into the house for his bag. Then together they set out for number 12 Ballina Terrace. So now he got his own bag from his house, and they both of them, both Joe and Andrew, they start moving towards house number 12 Ballina Terrace. The night air was cool, and as you already know, guys, this is the night time. It is almost midnight. Aadhi raat ka time hai. Yeah. The night air was cool and deep with quiet mystery. And there's like nobody on the road, and everything is so calm, so composed, so not so cheerful at all. Usually so perceptive, Andrew now felt dull and listless. Again, because it was a long day, right? So now Andrew is not so sure. He had no plans and he's very tired already. He had no premonitions, and premonitions means he had a feeling, a strong feeling that this night call would prove unusual. And he himself, हमें ना कई बार ऐसा feel हो जाता है ना that there's something unusual about this place, about हमें कुछ एक feelings आने लगती हैं, right? And that is the same feeling with Andrew as well, right? He had no premonitions. Premonitions means he had, although no feelings about this night, and he's considering this night as a very unusual one. Although it is a very full of, it is dull as well. He had no premonition that this night would prove unusual, still less that he would influence his whole future in Blanley. But he had this thought in his mind that something unusual will surely going to happen, and that will surely going to change his life and his whole future. What all will going to happen in Blanley will surely going to affect him. Perception मतलब होता है idea. That is perception. Hi Sneha. Yeah. The two men walked in silence until they reached the door of number 12. Then Joe drew up short. So now they, both the men, the doctor as well as Joe, they started walking towards the house number 12, which is number 12. And then Joe drew up short. So now Joe अब अपने steps थोड़े छोटे कर देता है. He stops. Okay, hi the two close friends. Right? So now Joe start taking the short steps now. I will not come in, he said, and his voice showed signs of strain. Strain means a lot of tension. Right? So now Joe tells the doctor that I will not going to move inside the house because his wife is inside, guys. And another thing, Suzanne and Joe are married for 20 long years, and they were expecting their child for a very long time. But this is the first time wherein the lady has come up to a stage wherein she is delivering the child, right? So 20 long years, they are like genuinely long for somebody who wants a child. So he is very tense. He is super confused, like what will going to happen now. So that is why he simply says that I will not going to step inside the house because I just can't wait to see my wife and my firstborn child. But man, I know you will do well for us. But guys, Joe puts a lot of emphasis on this, that he's expecting way too much from the doctor, and he simply made it clear that he is expecting a lot from the doctor, that he will surely going to make things happen good for him. Inside a narrow stair, बहुत छोटा सा. Now look at the house, how it is being described here. Inside, a narrow stair led up to a small bedroom. So there is like a small staircase and which directly moves to the small bedroom, clean but poorly furnished. So now that bedroom was although clean, but it was poorly furnished. That means Joe wasn't that much rich, and lit only by an oil lamp. And there was only one oil lamp inside that room. Here, Mrs. Morgan's mother, a tall grey-haired woman of nearly 70 and the stout. Offline 2020, yeah, hi. So now what he sees there, he sees a woman who is somewhat 70 years old, and she's sitting there along with a midwife. Now guys, who is a midwife? She is a semi-skilled, or let's just say a skilled woman who helps the women to deliver a child, right? They are basically called as midwife or nurse. So now this old woman, that is Mrs. Morgan's mother, she's sitting there again with another midwife. Yeah. So elderly midwife waited beside the patient, and they both are sitting next to the patient, watching Andrew's expression as he moved about the room. And both of them, both the mother as well as the midwife, looks at the doctor that he is going to be the god for a night for each one of them. Let me make you a cup of tea, doctor. Dr. Back. Again, guys, check out the language which is being used by the mother. right? This shows that they were not that much well educated, that they never had a refined language. So how Joe welcomes the doctor, how the mother is talking to the doctor, that is simply, we can check it out by the language, by the words they are choosing to address the doctor. Let me make you a cup of tea, Dr. Back, said the farmer quickly. Now, who is a farmer? That is the mother. After a few moments, Andrew smiled faintly. So now Andrew simply smiled at the situation faintly. I mean, he's not into that frame of mind right now. He saw that the old woman, wise and experienced, realized there must be a period of waiting, that she was afraid he would leave the case, saying he would return an hour. So now, why the mother simply offered the tea? Because she thought that Andrew will going to leave the patient there for a time being, because he could see that there is some time left for the delivery of the child, right? So the old lady thought कि Andrew, the doctor, will leave them. जो doctor है वो कुछ time के लिए वहां से चला जाएगा, because he could really see that अभी भी delivery में, baby की delivery में कुछ time है. So that is why, just to make him engage, just to make sure कि Andrew, the doctor, वहां से चले ना जाए, the lady, the mother, offered him the tea, right? As it is being mentioned, she was afraid he would leave the case. The case is simply the patient saying he would return later. Don't fret, mother, I will not run away. And he is making it clear that don't you worry, mother, I will not surely going to run away from this place. I will be here. Don't fret, mother, I will not run away. Down in the kitchen, he drank the tea which she gave him. So finally, he drank the tea. Overwrought as he was, overwrought means he was like so nervous, he was angry, plus he was so disturbed. I will write it here for you. Overwrought means he was nervous, because he has recently become a doctor, right? And he was angry also, he was super agitated as well, because he had a very tough night with his own girlfriend as well, so he is thinking about that as well. Yeah. Overwrought as he was, he knew he could not snatch even an hour's sleep if he went home. And he knows that he won't be able to drag out even an hour's sleep agar wo ghar chala bhi jata hai. So that is why he simply decided to be stay there. Again, guys, it was a midnight, so almost kuch 12 baj rahe hain raat ke, and he has got a critical situation here. He knew too that the case here would demand all his attention. और कहीं ना कहीं उसे ये भी पता है कि ये जो केस है उसमें उसको पूरा अटेंशन देना पड़ेगा. ये right? A queer lethargy. Queer means a very weird kind of lethargy of spirit came upon him, and he again, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा रात हो चुकी है, so he is also tired, right? So now there's a sort of lethargy on him. He decided to remain until everything was over. And he decided to stay there in Joe's house until everything is got back settled, right? An hour later, he went upstairs again. So कुछ देर बाद वो फिर से ऊपर जाता है to check out the position, the progress, right? Noted the progress made, came down once more, set by the kitchen fire. So फिर से वो ऊपर जाकर देखता है, he checks out the position, checks out what is the position of the patient, right? And then he again comes back and he sits next to the kitchen fire. Again, it's a very cold night, right? It was still, except for the rustle of a cinder in the grate and the slow tick-tock of the wall clock. So वहां पे थोड़ी सी आग जल रही है kitchen में, and rustle is like, some creaking sound is there, उस जो आग से थोड़ी सी आवाज आती है, राइट. एंड ग्रेट वो होता है गाइज जहाँ पे आग जलाई जाती है. आप लोग ने देखा होगा ना बहुत फॉरेन कंट्रीज में, इनफैक्ट इन शिमला ऑल्सो दे आर लाइक अ फायर प्लेस, राइट? सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ग्रेट. सो वहां पे थोड़ी सी आग जली हुई है और वहीं पे, एंड दैट इज लाइक अ काइंड, वो किचन के पास में ही है, एंड द डॉक्टर इज स्टिल देयर, राइट? Yeah, and along with that, इतना ज़्यादा silence है room के अंदर that he could hear the tick tock of the wall clock. No, there was another sound, the beat of Morgan's footsteps. राइट एंड ही सिंपली सेज कि सिर्फ ये दो ही आवाजें नहीं है, इनफैक्ट मॉर्गन के फुट स्टेप्स की आवाजें भी है, जो मॉर्गन एज यू ऑल नो वो घर में आने से मना कर देता है बिकॉज ही इज सो स्कैर्ड, ही इज सो टेंस्ड that what will happen to his wife and to his child. So that is why he is downstairs and he is, हम लोग टेंशन में कैसे घूम रहे होते हैं ना रूम में, so in the same way Morgan is also walking in the streets. As he paced in the street outside, the old woman opposite him sat in her black dress, quiet, motionless, her eyes strangely alive and wise, probing never leaving his face. So probing means tension. Now, yeah, probing means tension. So now this old lady is also there and she is right there and she is so badly in tension. Again, guys, it's been 20 years of the marriage and finally the wife is right there to deliver a child, and that is simply a very tense situation for everybody. वो लोग इस बच्चे के लिए they were waiting for 20 long years. So that is why Joe, that is why the old lady and everybody in the room were in a critical position. His thoughts were heavy, muddled. Muddled means confused. Whose thoughts, by the way? The doctor's thoughts. The episode he had witnessed at Cardiff station still obsessed him morbidly. So morbidly simply means that totally, completely. Right, so let us check out what happened at Cardiff station and why doctor is thinking about it way too much. He thought of Bramwell, foolishly devoted to a woman who deceived him sordidly. So now वो वहां पे बैठा बैठा अपने एक friend है Bramwell, उसके बारे में सोच रहा है. So what did Bramwell do? He loved this particular woman way too much, और ये जो women है, ये जो उसकी girlfriend होती है, वो उसे deceive means धोखा, okay? So वो उसे धोखा देकर चली जाती है, right? Sordidly simply means like in a very bad manner, she simply deceived this man Bramwell. Of Edward Page, bound to the shrewish Blodwen, of Denny living unhappily apart from his wife. So he's simply checking out that how all his friends are living up in a marriage, living up with their wives in a very bad situation, wherein either the wife cheats on their husbands or the husbands cheat on their wives. His reason told him that all these marriages were dismal. Dismal means dark, bad failures. And वो जब अपने सारे friends की marriages को evaluate करता है, so he comes to a conclusion that all the marriages are super disastrous, right? They are basically a failed attempt. It was a conclusion which, in his present state, made him wince. So made him wince simply means that, he is actually very disgusted with the whole idea of marriage, right? Wince means disgusted. Yeah. He wished to consider marriage as an idyllic state. So actually जो हमारा डॉक्टर था उसके अकॉर्डिंग मैरिज क्या होती है? That is like a happy place. Idyllic means a happy state. But उसके जितने भी friends हैं, they simply had a bad marriage. And that is why he is also so confused that should he marry or not. Yes, he could not otherwise consider it with the image of Christine before him. And now who is Christine? His beloved, his girlfriend. And now he is thinking like should he marry Christine or not. Her eyes, shining towards him, admitted no other conclusion. It was the conflict between his level, doubting mind and his overflowing heart which left him resentful and confused. So now he is so confused that should he marry his beloved Christine or not, because जब उसने अपने सारे friends की marriages को evaluate किया and they all had a very troublesome, disastrous marriage, and that is why he got super confused. और इसीलिए उसका mind और उसका heart, they are struggling. There's a conflict between the two. He let his chin sink upon his chest, stretched out his legs, stared broodingly. Broodingly is like deeply thinking a lot into the fire. And now he is staring into the fire and he is thinking that should he marry his girlfriend or not. He remained like this so long and he was looking into the fire for a very long time, and his thoughts were so filled with Christine that he started when he well so sorry then when sorry that he started when the old woman opposite suddenly addressed him. So now the old woman enters and he suddenly checks out the doctor, and he simply starts making some observations. She simply started staring at the doctor. Her meditation means her look, her thoughts had pursued a different course. And she was thinking about something else. Hi, Shatakshi. Susan said, now what is the name of the lady who is into labor, who is expecting her first child? That is Susan, right? Susan Morgan. Susan said that not to give her the chloroform if it would harm the baby. Now Susan made it very clear that by any chance, if the chloroform, guys, you all know, I think, what is chloroform. ओके मुझे सबसे पहले ओके दैट इज एनेस्थीसिया, राइट. हमें एनेस्थीसिया दिया जाता है, हमें कभी भी कोई भी ऑपरेशन होता है, सो उससे पहले हमें एनेस्थीसिया दिया जाता है. इनफैक्ट क्लोरोफॉर्म आप लोगों ने बहुत सारा बॉलीवुड में भी देखा होगा. एक हैंकरचीफ होता है, उसके ऊपर देयर इज लाइक सम सॉर्ट ऑफ मेडिसिन व्हिच दे पुट, और वो किसी के भी माउथ को कवर कर देते हैं और फिर उसको किडनैप कर लेते हैं, राइट. सो दैट इज क्लोरोफॉर्म. Okay, so Susan said that not to give her, and this old lady comes up and she simply tells her that don't provide her the chloroform. Okay, that is like behoshi ki dawa, right? So agar wo jo chloroform hai wo baby ko harm karne wala hai to she is awful set upon this child, and she is very much displeasing. She is very much conscious about this child, and she doesn't want, she can take the pain, but she doesn't want any harm to the child. Dr. Back, her old eyes warmed at a sudden thought. She added in a low tone, "Hey, we all are, I fancy." And this old lady simply says that we all are super excited, we all are super imagining this child. So please, please, please help her in delivering the child. So now our doctor was very much confined himself in the thought of his own beloved, right? That was Christine. So now he comes back to the present time, wherein he gathers his all attention and he now says something. It won't do any harm, the anesthetic. And the doctor says that, you know what, this anesthesia will not surely going to do any harm to the lady. So you don't need to worry about it much. He said kindly, they will be all right. And he made sure that, and he is giving assurance to the old lady that both the child as well as the mother will be all right. Here, the nurse's voice was heard calling from the top landing. और इतने में ही ऊपर से जो midwife है, जो nurse है, उसकी आवाज वहां से आती है. Andrew glanced at the clock, and Andrew checked out the clock. Right? Who is Andrew? The doctor. Which now showed 3:30. और अब क्या टाइम हो रहा है guys? It is रात के 3:30 बज रहे हैं, and he is already so tired, and herein he is supposed to perform his duty, which is help Susan to deliver the child. He rose and went up to the bedroom. He perceived that he might now begin his work. So now he checks out the patient, and he could imagine, perceive matlab he could simply see, उसने situation को देख के imagine कर लिया था that this is the time wherein he now needs to begin his work. An hour elapsed. Elapsed means an hour passed. It was a long, harsh struggle. Then, as the first streaks of dawn सो जैसे ही इट्स लाइक 3:30 हो चुके थे सिचुएशन को हैंडल करते करते, इट वाज लाइक 4:30, और इसी के साथ थोड़ी सी मतलब इट्स लाइक डॉन, थोड़ी सी सनलाइट रूम में एंटर होना स्टार्ट, इट्स लाइक मॉर्निंग टाइम हो चुका है. Right, first streaks of dawn straight past the broken edges of the blind, the child was born lifeless. और इसी के साथ रूम में थोड़ी सी लाइट आती है, and then he checks out that the baby is out there, और वो बेबी कैसा है? It is lifeless. Right, it looks like that there is no energy in the baby. It looks like that the baby is dead. Lifeless simply means that the baby is dead. As he gazed means stared or look. Yeah. As he stared at the still form of a shiver of horror, still matlab the child, okay, of horror passed over Andrew, and when he checks out that the baby is almost lifeless, a shiver passed through his own body. Yeah. After all that he had promised, and you all know that he had made a promise to Joe and to the old lady that he will surely going to make this baby live a long life. But when he checks out the baby, that baby was a lifeless. His face heated with his own exertions. Now, this doctor was also very tired as well, chilled suddenly, or suddenly his whole body, the doctor's body also got chilled. He hesitated, torn between his desire to attempt to resuscitate. So resuscitate basically means, he basically gathers his own consciousness, because he made a promise to the old lady, to the husband, that he will surely going to help the lady delivering a strong child. But this child is not so strong enough, and his obligation towards the mother, who was herself in a desperate state. So not the child itself, the mother was also in a very desperate state. She was also in need of a help. The dilemma means confusion. Yeah. Was so urgent he did not solve it consciously. So now the doctor is so confused that he should save the child first or the lady first. He doesn't know at all. Blindly, instinctively, he gave the child to the nurse and turned his attention to Susan Morgan, who now lay collapsed. Collapsed means without, she's like all broken down. Yeah. Almost pulseless. And now, in fact, Susan was also pulseless. It looked like that she is also not so alive. And the doctor gives the child to the nurse, to the midwife, and he checks out the lady Susan. And not yet out of the ether. Ether is basically a kind of a medicine. Okay, it is kind of a solution upon her side. His haste means in hurry. Yeah. His haste was desperate, a frantic race. Frantic means insane, panic. Now doctor is also panicking because the child is also lifeless, or kahin na kahin Susan is also not responding. So now this doctor is going insane. He is actually showing symptoms of panic. Race against her ebbing. Ebbing means gradual, declining. I will write it here. Gradual or decline. Yeah. So now जो lady है उसकी भी तबीयत simultaneously खराब होती जा रही है. Right? It is falling down. Ebbing strength means the strength of the lady is also falling down. It took him only an instant to smash a glass ampoule and inject the medicine. आप लोगों ने देखा होगा there is a sort of small bottle, right, जिसके अंदर syringe को put किया जाता है, फिर उसमें से वो inject होती है जो medicine है. So that is what the doctor is also doing. Then he flung down the hypodermic syringe and worked unsparingly to restore the flaccid woman. So flaccid matlab kya hota hai? The lady who was lacking an energy, right? So usme he was trying to, us lady ki body mein, he was trying to inject something so that she can come back to life. Restore, like come back to life. After a few more minutes of feverish effort, her heart strengthened. He saw that he might safely leave her. So now he could see that the lady has come back to life and now he can leave her. He swung round in his shirt sleeves, his hair sticking to his damp brow. And now he is so tired. He is sweating like anything, and his hair have like all in sweat, and his brows are basically the eyebrows, and they all are damp in his sweat. Where's the child? And doctor asked simply, where is the child? The midwife made a frightened gesture. Now the midwife is also very much scared, and she makes a gesture, matlab ishara karna, towards the child. She placed it beneath the bed. And where is the child? Where did she keep the child? Under the bed. In a flash means in like fraction of seconds, Andrew knelt down. So Andrew jaldi se niche jhukta hai to check out inside, like beneath the bed. Fishing means ढूंढना. Okay, fishing amongst the sodden newspapers below the bed. So वहां पे बहुत ही ज्यादा wet newspapers, sodden means wet, drenched newspapers रखे हुए हैं, they're all moist. He pulled out the child, और वो जो child था, जो still born था, वो उन papers के ऊपर एकदम, it was all wet, it was lying there. A boy, perfectly formed, although उस बच्चे का जो formation था, and that child was a boy, and it was perfectly formed. The limp, warm body was white and soft as tallow. So now उस बच्चे की जो body थी, that was like all white, and it was soft like a tallow. Tallow क्या होता है? गाइज एनिमल्स की जो बॉडी होती है ना, उसे जस्ट से उसको ना मेल्ट करके कैंडल्स बनाए जाते हैं, लिपस्टिक्स बनाए जाते हैं और सोप्स बनाए जाते हैं. सो उसकी बॉडी इतनी ज्यादा सॉफ्ट थी. राइट. द कॉर्ड हेस्टली स्लैश्ड. कॉर्ड होती है बच्चा जो मदर और बेबी से एक अटैच होती है, जिसे जब बेबी डिलीवर होता है तो उस कॉर्ड को कट किया जाता है. सो वो कॉर्ड को कट, जो द कॉर्ड हेस्टली स्लैश्ड, उसको वहां से एक बहुत जल्दी से उसको काटा गया था. ले लाइक अ ब्रोकन स्टेम. और वो वहां पे वो जो कॉर्ड होती है वो वहां पे एक स्टेम की तरह रखी हुई होती है. द स्किन वॉज ऑफ अ लवली टेक्सचर. और उस बच्चे की जो स्किन थी वो बहुत ही अच्छे टेक्सचर में होती है. स्मूथ एंड टेंडर. इट इज लाइक सो सॉफ्ट एंड सो स्मूथ. The head lolled on the thin neck. The limbs seemed boneless. और ये बच्चा एकदम boneless. It looked like that it has no energy. Still kneeling. Now doctor is still kneeling. He is down there. He is simply he is still on his knees and he is checking out the baby. And you stared at the child with a haggard. Haggard means in a very he is like all exhausted. Yeah. Still kneeling, Andrew stared at the child with a haggard frown. The whiteness meant only one thing, that is expatia, Palladia, that is Pallida, sorry, and his mind, unnaturally tense, raced back to a case he once had seen in the Samaritan. Right? So now he is checked out that this is a situation wherein the meaning of the word Palladia is being mentioned here, guys. It says, suffocation or unconscious condition caused by lack of oxygen and excessive of carbon dioxide in the body, accompanied by paleness of the skin, weak pulse, and loss of reflexes. So that is what the child was born with this particular problem. Right? Now जब वो उस बच्चे को देखता है, so suddenly he got एक जल्दी से एक memory goes flashback into his mind, wherein he saw the same situation, where he saw the same experience, where he had the same experience in the Samaritan. That is the name of the place. So now he quickly recalls that what he can do to save the child, to the treatment that had been used. और वो जल्दी से recall करता है कि what treatment he can use to save the child. Instantly, मतलब in like fraction of seconds, he was on his feet. वो जल्दी से खड़ा हो जाता है. Get me hot water and cold water. he threw out to the nurse. So he shouts, he yells at the nurse, and he tells that he wants a hot water and a cold water. And basins too. Quick, quick. And he says that I want basins as well. But doctor, she faltered. Now she faltered, matlab, she like in a very unsteady manner, because she thinks that the body of the child will not work at all, right? So she's so tensed as well. Her eyes on the pallid body of the child, and pallid simply means the dull body of the child, and she is thinking that what will the doctor do with this child? This child is a stillborn, and there is no chance that he or she will going to this boy will going to survive uh, what the doctor is trying to do. So he simply shouted, you quick, I mean, you better do it fast. Snatching a blanket, he laid the child upon it and began the special method of respiration. So now वो वहां से एक blanket रखा होता है, उसे खींच के निकालता है, और वहां पे वो एक special method होता है of respiration. Respiration simply means to provide oxygen to the body, right? So he starts providing the oxygen to the child. The basins arrived, so इसी के साथ the nurse comes back. The ewer, the big iron kettle, frantically, like in a very, again, insane, like बहुत ही जल्दी, he splashed cold water into one basin. So now, वो एक बेसन के अंदर डालता है ठंडे पानी को. Into the other, he mixed water as hot as his hand could bear. और दूसरे वाले के अंदर, और उसी बेसन के अंदर, सॉरी, वो और ज्यादा गर्म पानी डालता है, उतना गर्म पानी which his hand could take care. Then, like some crazy juggler आपने देखे होंगे बच्चा, they are simply the the jokers, so वो लोग balls के साथ juggles करते हैं या bottles के साथ juggling करते हैं. So now he is juggling up with the child. He hurried the child between the two, now plunging it into icy, now into the steaming bath. So कभी वो उसको एकदम ठंडे पानी में डालता है, कभी वो उसको एकदम गर्म पानी में डालता है. So he is tossing, he is juggling the child between the two water basins. Yeah, 15 minutes passed, और ऐसे करते करते 15 long minutes had passed. Sweat was now running into Andrew's eyes, blinding him. और इतना ज़्यादा sweat is all there, and it's like sweat is coming into his eyes, and he could not even see things clearly. But he is actually tossing, he is juggling the child, sometime into the cold, into the icy water, and sometimes into the steaming bath. One of his sleeves hung down, और इसी के साथ जो जैकेट पहना हुआ था उसमें से sleeves बाहर निकल के आ जाती है, and it is all dripped into the water. His breath came pantingly, और हम जैसे कि सांस लेने का, जब हम बहुत जोर से भागने लगते हैं या हम कोई भी एक्सरसाइज बहुत ज्यादा देर से कर रहे होते हैं, so हम लोग पैंट करने लग जाते हैं, right? So वैसे ही डॉक्टर started panting. But no breath came from the legs body of the child. So legs means, which has no strength. Right? But unfortunately, जितने भी efforts ये doctor try कर रहे थे, उन सब के साथ भी this child wasn't able to come back to life. A desperate sense of defeat pressed on him. So इसी के साथ he was losing all the hopes. He was thinking that nothing will surely going to help out this child to live his life. A raging hopelessness, or he is losing all the hopes that surely he will not going to survive, he will not come back to life. He felt the midwife watching him in stark consternation, and now he can simply check out that the midwife is staring, is that looking at him, and with amazement, with horror, that what this doctor is doing. I mean, imagine that just the child has come out from the mother's womb, and this doctor has placed sometime the child into the icy cold water, sometime into the hot water, and this midwife, this nurse is like all awestruck. She simply can't see that what this doctor is trying to do. While there, pressed back against the wall where she had all the time remained. And now she is simply standing against the wall, and she simply stares out at the doctor what he's trying to do. Her hand pressed on her throat, and now she's like, oh my, like her hands up, she's she's all dumb, she simply can't even think what this doctor is trying to do with the child. So now she's she's all struck. She's acting like something is really weird with the doctor, what all efforts he's trying to make, uttering no sound, and she is not even dare to utter a single sound. Her eyes burning upon him, and burning upon means घूरना, एकदम बहुत ज्यादा गुस्से और टेंशन में वो उस डॉक्टर को देख रही थी, was the old woman. He remembered her longing for a grandchild, and now our doctor really recalls, the old woman which is sitting downstairs, who is expecting that she will going to get a grandchild, and he gets a memory of it, as great as had been her daughter's longing for this child. और वहीं वो फिर से ये याद कर रहा है कि ये जो मदर, जो सुजैन है, जो वहां पे लेटी हुई है, she also wants to see her child desperately. And again he tries to battle, he tries to figure out how he can save this child. Oops. Yeah. um okay, all dashed away now, futile beyond remedy, and he simply sees that nothing is working out, and he is so tensed. He can see that, everything is, he's losing hope as well. The floor was now a draggled mess. Why a draggled mess? Draggled matlab hota hai, it is like very untidy. Right? So there was like a lot of mess in the room. Why? First of all, there was a blood as well. Along with that, there was a water, hot water, cold water, and like there was a clear mess in the room. Stumbling means walking very, very unsteadily over a soaping towel. Now, Andrew almost dropped the child. Why he almost dropped the child? Because this child has become slippery, right? So when he had a soaping towel in his hand, he was almost about to drop the child, which was now wet and slippery in his hands. और ये बच्चा उसके हाथ में, क्योंकि obviously वो बहुत देर से था, so ये एकदम slippery, एकदम wet था, like a strange white fish, और वो उसके हाथ से छूटने वाला था, the child. Yeah. And what is the metaphor of white fish here, guys? I mean, because this child was lifeless, right? इसमें कहीं से भी it wasn't able to breathe. There was no sense of, blood भी ठीक से नहीं था in the body. So it was being compared as a white fish. For mercy's sake, doctor, whimpered the midwife. So now whimpered means crying, like she's sobbing. She's like, for mercy's sake, doctor, stop putting efforts into it. It's stillborn. And she says that it is stillborn. I mean, that means that this child is dead. It cannot come back to life. Andrew did not heed her. Andrew did not pay any attention to what the midwife was saying. Beaten, despairing, having labored in pain for half an hour, he still persisted in one last effort. So although वो पिछले आधे घंटे से try कर रहा था कि वो उस बच्चे को बचा सके, and he tried to make one more last effort on his part. Because, he's thinking about that old woman who is sitting down there, the grandmother of the child, the mother, Suzanne, who is lying there on the bed, as well as the father who refused to enter into the house because he is so tensed. So he simply checks out that he so badly needs to save this child, because everybody in the house is actually thinking that this doctor will be the Masiha. He will surely going to save the mother as well as the child, right? So there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of expectations from this doctor. Rubbing the child with a rough towel, crushing and releasing the little chest with both his hands. And now he's rubbing the chest of the child with the hope that the child will come back to the life. Trying to get breath into the limp body. And he's trying to, he's genuinely trying, he's actually making efforts that the child will come back to life. And then, as by a miracle, the pygmy chest, which his hands enclosed, gave a short convulsive heave. Another and another. So now, Finally, there was a miracle, and pygmy simply means small, like a very tiny, okay? Small chest which is hands and claws. So इतना छोटा सा बेबी था कि वो उसके दोनों हाथों में इतना क्यूटली इतने छोटे आ गया था. Gave a short convulsive. Convulsive means unsteady, like कभी वो सांस आ रही थी कभी नहीं आ रही थी, and he was like, you know, the sound of like the child is trying to make some efforts to breathe. And another, Andrew turned giddy. Now giddy means Andrew almost faint hone wala tha, almost usko chakkar aa rahe the, but finally he could see that the child has made the efforts. The child has also not made the efforts, but the child has come back to life. A sense of life springing beneath his fingers after all that unavailing striving. Was striving means basically efforts. Yeah. Oops. Sorry. It is efforts. So now Andrew could see that whatever efforts he had made, his efforts have finally give him a fruit, right? Was so exquisite, it almost made him faint. He redoubled his efforts feverishly. और अब वो जो efforts पहले कर रहा था उसने और उसको ज़्यादा develop कर दिया, so that he could make this child survive. The child was gasping now. Gasping मतलब हम लोग मतलब वो try कर रहा था सांस लेने का, to breathe deeper and deeper. A bubble of mucus came from a tiny nostril. So now a liquid came out from the nostrils of the child. A joyful iridescent bubble. Iridescent means like a very, it was, this mucus was such a beautiful thing for the doctor to see. Now the limbs kya hote hain bacha? The hands and the legs, you know. So now they were no longer boneless. So they were simply no longer boneless. Why not boneless? Because now this child was active. This child has survived it. The head no longer lay back spinelessly. You know, आपने कभी किसी मूवी में या कभी किसी एनिमल को या कभी किसी डेड ऑब्जेक्ट को देखा होगा ना, it stays like कि उसमें एनर्जी नहीं है, उसमें बॉडी नहीं, उस बॉडी में एनर्जी नहीं है. Now this tiny little body actually showed certain symptoms, that certain ways that it has got up a life. Now it was no longer lying there spineless. It has got a life. The blanched skin. So blanched means dull. Yeah. It says the bland skin was slowly turning pink. और वो जो पूरी white body थी, so finally वो धीरे धीरे it turned into pink. Then exquisitely came the child's cry. And finally the baby cried. He made a lot of effort, isn't it, to make the child live. Dear Father in heaven, the nurse sobbed. Sob means cry. Hysterically means madly. She could not even believe. I mean, she simply thought that this doctor is mad. Why is he trying to make efforts? But now she could see that the child is finally alive, and she is praying God in the heaven. It's come alive. And she's shouting, she's yelling that finally this child has come alive. Andrew handed her the child. So Andrew gave her the child. He felt weak and dazed. Dazed means like it looked, because obviously he had a very difficult night with his own girlfriend, and now he had such a laborious thing to do. So now he has left with no energy. About him, the room lay in a shuddering litter. और उस रूम का हाल बहुत ज्यादा गंदा था, like it was like all litter, because there was water everywhere. Blankets, towels, basins, soiled instruments, the hypodermic syringe impaled by its point in the linoleum. So now everything was scattered in the room. Everything was lined up there in the room and it was all messy. The ewer knocked over, the kettle on its side in a puddle of water. और बहुत सारा पानी भी गिरा हुआ था. Upon the huddled bed, the mother still dreamed her way quietly through the anesthetic. So you remember, mother ने कहा था that she doesn't want any chloroform, And doctor said that, anesthesia will not harm her. But anesthesia maybe did harm her. And now she was sleeping in the savor of that anesthesia on the bed. Yeah, the old woman still stood against the wall, but her hands were together, her lips moved without sound, she was praying. So now still she was standing near the wall and she simply thanked God and she did not even utter a word till now. But now she was praying to the Almighty, to the God, that this doctor has finally made this child survive. Mechanically means, गाइस आप लोग ने कभी देखा होगा कि हम लोग इतने ज्यादा टायर्ड होते हैं, इतने ज्यादा थके हुए होते हैं, that we are doing an activity, right? हम लोग सिर्फ उसको as a machine we are doing it and we are not involved into it, right? So that is called as mechanically, like without emotions involved into it, without any feelings attached to it. Mechanically, Andrew wrung up his sleeve. So wrung up means he simply folded his sleeve, pulled on his jacket, and he picked up his jacket. I will fetch my bag later, nurse. And he says, because although he's so tired, guys, he's so tired. He's left with no energy. And you remember at what time he's begun with his work? It was around 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the night, in the morning rather. So now he's so tired and he says that I will fetch. Fetch means I will take my bag later. He went downstairs through the kitchen into the scullery. So what is a scullery? It is a room for washing dishes and for a similar work. His lips were dry and he's got so tired, and his lips were also very dry. At the scullery, he took a long drink of water and he drank a lot of water at the scullery. He reached for his hat and coat and he got his hat and coat. Outside, he found Joe standing on the pavement with a tense, expectant face. Now, Joe also showed a lot of expectation on our doctor, right? So now he's standing on the pavement with a lot of tension on his face and with an expectation that the child must have survived, the mother must have survived as well. And he's expecting some good news from the doctor. All right, Joe, he said thickly. Both all right. And he simply says that the child as well as the mother is all right, Joe, so you don't need to worry about it much. It was quiet light. And now outside, how was the environment? How was what was the time? It was like all quiet. And it was like a very tiny light was there. Nearly 5 o'clock. And it was 5 o'clock in the morning. A few miners were always in the street, were already in the streets, और कुछ लोग तो अपने कुछ miners अपने काम पे already जा चुके थे. The first of the night shift moving out, और इसी के साथ the first night shift actually moved out. Yeah, the night shift was almost over. As Andrew walked with them, spent and slow, his footfalls echoing with the others under the morning sky, he kept thinking blindly. Oblivious matlab unconsciously. To all the other work he had done in blankly, and he simply recalls at what all works he had done till in blankly. Like he was so happy that somehow his own efforts had made the stillborn child come to life and help the woman, the mother also to survive. I have done something. Oh God, I have done something real at last. And he was so happy that finally he has done a miraculous job. He has made somebody survive. He had made the child as well as the mother survive because this was a stillborn. And you know what? The midwife was like, you should not make any efforts. This child will not going to survive. But then his presence of mind, you remember that was one of the theme, his presence of mind. So now his presence of mind, that once he saw the same incident happening sometime before as well. So his presence of mind in the difficult situation made the child survive, right? Along with that, ethics. No matter how badly you are in a situation, that how badly you are in the, there hum sabki life mein there is a problem with professional as well as with our personal life, but our personal life should not hamper our mental state when we are doing something when it comes to a profession. And that is what he actually made it very clear. Along with that, he kept his promise which he made to Joe as well as to the old mother which was sitting out there. Right, so with this, I hope we all are very, very, very clear with the chapter Birth, which was written by A.J. Cronin, right? And I simply hope that there is no doubt questions left with this chapter. Still, if you have any doubts, any queries, you can write in the comment box and I will surely help you out while solving them. Right, so with this, we are done with the chapter, and I hope you're super sorted and super clear with this chapter. Yes, and as I've already told you, the major characters of the story are Andrew Manson as well as Joe Morgan. We have checked out their own, their own character sketches as well. The theme of the chapter was presence of mind, life-changing events, and ethics, right? So they are the basic themes of the chapter, which we have already checked out. So I really hope this is very clear to each one of you, right? And with that, I'll take your leave. So guys, do take care of yourself and do revise the chapter and keep on studying. All right. Bye.